This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, I'm Dr. Annette Cargioli. I am the inventor, the CEO of EPT Works, which is a company that trains people to do emotional polarity technique, EPT for short. It is a completely different approach in emotional health care. Instead of what people usually do with medication or traditional therapy that can take years and years, EPT focuses on using the science of forgiveness to resolve the unresolved emotional conflicts in the past, because forgiveness pretty much resolves conflicts faster than anything. And in doing that, it frees your body to be healthier, to release pain and have spontaneous healing. And also it frees you to have better relationships and to dream big in your future and have just an overall better life experience so that you can get on what God has prepared for you to do in this life. So that's what we do. Today, I'm going to be doing a session with Penny Robinson, who is brand new to me. However, Penny, have you ever done an EPT session?
Yes, I've done a couple, yes.
Okay. I still have this really weird lag. I'm not sure. I'm waiting. And see, I'm wondering if you could turn off your video, just your video, maybe that will help the sound.
Ask her if me having a computer instead.
I mean, it's garbly, it's really hard to hear, and I've got to hear you to be able to do this. So I just got to like see if we can get it.
Can you hear?
So,
can you hear? Can you hear me?
Okay?
Hear me?
I hear you, except it kind of garbles every now and then. Do you hear me clearly, or am I garbly?
You're clear.
Okay, what you just said when you said you're clear, that was super clear. That's the best I've heard.
Okay, Penny, talk again.
Are you with her?
Yeah, I mean, I got in the hallway to get in the room that we were in. I thought maybe that was the problem. The hallway. Maybe that was the problem.
I switched providers.
I can put her on.
So I'm clear, but I'm still not getting clarity.
Suggestion, turn off all apps except for the GoToMeeting.
All right, the other thing you could do is possibly turn off all your applications except for the GoToMeeting app. That sometimes helps too. So I still am not getting it's like your voice comes in like a piano, kind of wow, wow, wow. That's what we're hearing.
All right, is that any better?
Okay, you sound great, Shirley. I think it's when Penny is speaking, so I'm not sure what you have set up there, why yours is clear and hers isn't. I have no idea.
I tried to get offline and again, and that makes it any better.
I'm completely off. See if that helps.
All right, so can I hear Penny?
All right. I have basically changed and got out and logged back.
Okay, it's still pretty draggy, kind of weird. Like when I hear Shirley,
I still can hear it.
Shirley sounds really clear. When I hear Penny, it's very dragged out and weird.
Maybe she should my computer.
Yeah,
I just clicked off of the website, but I can still hear it.
I mean, I'm thinking maybe it has something to do with two of you on at once, but I have no idea because I'm not a technological person. The other suggestion I have when we're having trouble just hooking up from this standpoint is if Penny could go out completely and just come in on the phone. And then Penny still needs to see me, or you're there to help her. So as I walk her through what I want to do with magnets, she's going to have to see what's going on. All right, is Penny back?
Closed it.
I guess I could have probably spent that first 5 minutes going over this, but we'll do this.
Annette,
Hello?
I'm still here.
Okay, is that Penny?
Hello.
All right, is that Penny or is that Shirley?
Yes, it's me.
Okay, Penny. Ah, yeah, that
That's
sounds like
Penny.
all right, that sounds like a human being. You were sounding very robotic and I was like, this is going to distract me to death. It was never going to work that way. Do you have a view of what I'm doing, telling you of me?
I do. I can see what you're doing. Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect. All right, Penny, you said that you have done this before. How many times have you done EPT?
2, 3 times. 3.
Okay, all right. And what is it that you wanted to work on today?
Trust, safety and security, and empathy.
Trust, safety, security, and what was the last one?
Intimacy.
All right, so being able to be yourself with people. And to actually be honest about what you feel with people. That's really what intimacy is. So, I mean, that's the core or foundation of intimacy, being able to really bear your real true self. And then that goes into other types of intimacy. But if I can't do my own true self with people, then I'm going to struggle with any other type of intimacy. So, all right, trust, safety, and security. So how does it work right now in your life that doesn't feel good to you?
I am not certain I understand the question.
Okay, so here's the question. Something in your life tells you that you don't feel trust, that you don't feel safe, and that you don't feel secure, and then that blocks your ability to have intimacy. So what happens in your life over and over? Like what really like jags you in your life and in life experience that makes you say, ha, that's why I can't trust people?
And I open myself up to people. I find that they tell me what they want to hear versus what is reality. And then I find that they have used me to their advantage and tossed me to the side as if I'm rubbish. I'm no longer of value to them. And it's happened as long as I can remember.
Okay, so I'm not valued. So what has happened in your life, what you experience that you don't like it experiencing is that you don't feel like you're valued by others and that they use you to their advantage. And I'm thinking, and it has hurt. You've had a lot of hurt in relationships. And it seems to you that it's when you really open yourself. So is that
Yes,
all
that's true.
That's accurate? Okay. So that's what I wanted to do, because ultimately the way we're going to you know, the only way you're going to really know, you might feel better and feel lighter after we work today, but the only way you're really going to know if this made a difference is if you start to realize that everybody doesn't use you and take advantage of you. Do you know what I mean? Like when you start to recognize that there are actually people in your life who would never use you and take advantage of you, but your brain is very, very attentive to the ones who use you and take advantage of you. Do you understand that?
I do understand that. And it seems to be the people who are the closest to me who have inflicted this kind of pain upon me, which makes it that much more
Right.
hurtful.
Difficult. So it tends to show up in your family blood relationships, right?
Yes, we're going to
Okay.
say family and
Tends
coworkers.
show up. Well, okay, so I'll say in family and close people, people you open up to,
Yes.
and close associates. All right. So what I'd like to do, what we're going to hopefully do using EPT is we're going to hopefully, because this is kind of an odd request, like what you're asking here, you're looking at it, but like what I'm thinking already is I have to think about what is the outcome that would make your life better. And I think the outcome would be that your brain starts to hyper notice the people around you who would never use you, who would never devalue you, who would be horrified to find out that they hurt you. There are people like that. And I want your brain to single those people out instead of these other people. So that
Okay.
there's not space for these other people to keep showing up and doing this to you. You know, I mean, that's ultimately what I would say would be your outcome here, because it would be insane if you can't open up to people who would never do what you have had done to you. That there are people who would never behave this way. If you can open up to those people, then you will start to trust. But until you can really say, I believe that people like that exist and they are also all around me and I will attract those people, well, it would be crazy for you to trust and feel safe and feel secure, because right now your brain is zeroing in on everybody who hurts you. So it's hard to I mean, I don't even know if I really believed every person in your life was this using kind of person. I would tell you it would be crazy to start trusting people. Like there's no reason to trust these people. Like what am I going to do? Open up to more hurt? That's insane. So I have to open up to more people. That's what I have to do before my brain is going to say, okay, you can trust now. The brain has to be convinced there's a whole lot of people who would never use you, and that you're one of those people who isn't going to let people use you. And you're not going to hate them. You're just going to say there's lots of people and there's lots who love me, and that's where my attention is going to go. So that's where I'm saying this is a little unusual. Do you have any physical pain?
Yes.
Where?
Head over my left eye.
So is it there all the time?
No.
Is it there today?
It's intermittent. It comes and goes.
And have you ever gotten it checked out? Has anybody diagnosed it?
No. I mean, I have had headaches from time to time, but the headache that I'm currently experiencing has been going on for about 8 weeks.
Wow. So you've been dealing with this pain over your left eye for about 6 weeks? Is that what you said?
8.
8 weeks. Okay. Headache over. And does anything make it go away?
Time.
So you have to like lay down, rest, or just, I mean,
Nope, it's intermittent. It'll just hit me hard and fast and then go away.
wow. Does it interfere with your driving or any of your activity?
Sometimes vision, but again, it's intermittent. And I've noticed that it occurs a lot of times about 10 o'clock in the morning, and it'll just hit me intermittently all day long. It'll be gone in the morning. The pressure will be bad enough that even to clear my throat causes increased pain across the frontal lobe.
So it's very, very high pressure pain.
Very.
Okay. So today, like right now, well, it's intermittent. So right now, do you have it?
Right now, no.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So we're going to start with balancing your brain, doing something called rapport. So I need you to put two sides of the two magnets on either side of your head. Look at, she's going to help you. And you're going to push your head together. Yeah. Well, you want to do it this way, like horizontal.
Green, blue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green and blue.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Help
All
me.
right.
Nano.
Perfect. Okay. Yes. I need you to breathe in and squeeze your head together and breathe out. And breathe in, breathe out, and breathe in, breathe out. And then I want you to go in the front of your head, still holding the magnets like this. And you're going to push on the, go on the very back of your head and the front, and you're going to raise it to the ceiling. It's kind of awkward. I need you to breathe in as you lift to the ceiling. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. Okay. Perfect. Now you can take those magnets down. Did you hear me? You can take the magnets down now. You're good. Penny, you can take the magnets down. Boy, this sound is really weird, I guess. Okay, perfect. Take them away. Yes. All right. You can hear me okay, right? Can you hear me, Penny? Wow.
Oh, you're acting up.
Yeah,
You can take this one.
I'm acting up now. Yeah. All right. So, do we need to do something for sound before we
What?
get rolling on these statements, or are we okay?
I can right now.
Okay.
No.
I heard you good. All right. So now we're going to look for, because we've got our focus and EPT is kind of a 4-step process, which is we identify and we focus on a problem, which for this one, it is you want to focus on the problems that exist in your life, being able to trust, feel safe, feel secure, and be intimate in a relationship. And your experience has been, I've been used, I have not been valued, and I've been hurt by people my whole life. So it makes sense that I wouldn't trust anybody. And I'm not going to be able to change these people, but if I can change myself, possibly I will open up space for people who will never do this to me. Even some of these people, maybe not. All right, so the stage of healing you're in is 4, which means that you're stuck. So stage 4 is kind of depression, and you're in stage 4. And then I'm going to ask about what's your subjective units of distress for not trusting people, and it means how distressed do I feel really when somebody has hurt me deeply. It's a 10. So your subjective units of distress. I'm just getting measurements now so that at the end of the session, we'll know if we did anything that actually changed. And then subjective units of elation. Oh, good. It's a 2. So that means you don't like actually get excited about not trusting people or be happy or feel like, oh, this is great that I don't trust somebody. It makes you feel distressed more than it does making you feel good. So, which is probably why you said that's why I want to change it. So stage 4, and then I'm going to ask how many issues, and I'm muscle testing here. The other thing I'm doing is I have a Qigong machine, which is a sound machine that I put on myself so that I basically feed myself some energy during remote sessions, because it drains a lot for somebody to do this remotely, even when the sound is really good. So anyway, so stage of healing is 4, and how many issues? 3. First issue, love, family, current, self, grief, my grief. So this is, first issue is your grief, and I'm looking for emotions, and it was over the lung. So my grief, with family, with dad, my grief with my dad. So do you just have one dad?
Oh, that's enough.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, because some people will have a stepdad and then they'll have another stepdad, so or an adopted dad. So you have one dad and he's your birth dad, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is your grief with your dad. If you had to finish that sentence, what would it be? Was he somebody who really hurt you?
Yes.
Does he still hurt you, or is he gone?
Oh, yes.
So he still is a guy who hurts you and
Yeah.
devalues you and
Oh,
devalues you.
yes. Yep.
So would you say he is abusive? I mean, physically, emotionally, or sexually abusive? Or verbally? Verbally.
Emotionally.
Emotionally abusive.
Not anymore.
Grief with your dad. And
Oh, yes.
so my grief with my dad, is it true to say I feel grief with him because he hurt me over and over? Yes,
Yes.
that works. Grief with dad,
Yes.
he hurt me over and over. Did you grow up with him?
We were in the same house. Yes.
Okay, all right. I just wondered if your parents had separated or anything. All right,
Not
so
till
my grief,
after I left.
okay. So I'm gonna ask, currently it's my grief with dad, he hurt me over and over. That's what now your body is still trying to fix. We're gonna ask when the original time was, or an earlier time when you felt the same feeling with your dad. And and I'm just asking your body, so you don't have to come up with it. Conception or birth, birth 5, age 5. So age 5, is it my grief, somebody else's? My grief with dad because he hurt me over and over. So do you remember that?
No, not at this point.
You don't remember anything at age 5?
There's been so much. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what 5.
So let's think about this. Do you remember the house you were in when you were 5?
Oh, yes.
And did you have your own room?
No.
So you shared a room.
Yes.
And what did your dad do? Was he at home a lot, or did he work at home or go away to work?
He worked outside of the home, and when he was on the property, he had a tendency to be in his shop or his shed working on his old cars, where we were never allowed to attend. So he's kind of a phantom dad.
So he was really kind of absent. So
Perfect.
so so when you were 5, did you feel like you had a relationship with him, or was he just this guy that was there and not really there?
I think I've always wanted to have a relationship with him. I've felt as though he was special to me, but
Mhm.
never there.
Right.
And
So
not re-
so you were on your own. He really wasn't there. If you needed a dad, he wouldn't have been available.
no, that's correct.
So really at age 5, and even now, it might be that you feel very rejected.
Yes.
that the hurt is more of a rejection. For I'm his daughter and I thought I would be special to him, but nothing I do ever makes him care anymore.
That's right. And that's never good enough.
Wow. All right. So your grief with that, he rejected me. I'm changing hurt to rejection because rejection is more of an emotional hurt. So
Abandonment's a good word too.
well, and I may get there too, as far as emotions. So this is just grief, and it goes to age 5, and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with doing the grief, and I'm gonna put here, wait, the other one was, supply in here. All right. He rejected me over and over, and I wanna say, I wanna say, he didn't bless me, he didn't love me. Does that work?
If I understood you correctly, that he did not love me, yes.
And he didn't bless me.
Did not bless me.
Yeah. So he would have more like cursed you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And he's still kind of like that. He doesn't know how to fix it.
Correct.
He just, yeah, it's just the way probably what he learned. All right. So this is age 5, your grief. So now we're going to take these magnets again. There's a green side or a blue side and a red side. And I'm checking it's red and red. Yeah. Okay. Red, red. So we're going to put red over your lung, which is right here. If you see me, you're going to put a magnet over the lung and then a red magnet over your forehead at the same time. And then you're going to like take your hands on either side of your head while you're holding the magnet. And you're going to, this is age 5, the grief I felt because my dad rejected me no matter what I did. He didn't show me any approval. He wasn't showing up for us. He just kind of pushed us away. Okay, breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. Okay. Now, are there any other emotions? Yes. There it is. The next one is abandoned. I feel abandoned. Abandoned by dad because he rejected me and he didn't bless me and he wasn't there for me, even though I felt like he should have been. I wanted him to love me, right? When you were 5, you wanted him to care and be proud of you. And he just didn't. So abandon and rejection and right, I want to say I didn't matter and nothing was good enough. I'm writing that down. I didn't matter and nothing was good enough. I'm writing those words down. Okay, so this is abandonment and this is over your heart. And it's going to be the same thing. Red over your heart and red over your forehead. And then you're going to squeeze your head together. You know, put your hand, and as you breathe in, so I need you to think about age 5, I felt abandoned by my dad because he rejected me. He pushed us away. He wouldn't let us into his life. Breathe in, breathe out, and breathe in, breathe out, and breathe in, breathe out. All right. And then I'm going to ask, are there any other emotions? Yes. Did you have any traumas? Did you get hurt when you were 5 at all? Emotion. Low self-esteem. Okay. Low self-esteem is another emotion, but I'm wondering because there's a lot of emotions here, it means that this was really stressful for you at age 5. So you felt very beat down, rejected, low self-esteem. I'm not good enough. And that's what I have to be to basically live up to my dad's words about me. So my question is, did you have any kind of trauma, physical trauma that happened then, like a car wreck or a broken bone or a bike wreck or even like getting spanked really bad or slapped by your dad?
I fell off of the slide when I was in kindergarten, fell off the top of the slide.
And where did you land on your bottom or your head?
I don't recall how I landed. I just know I was embarrassed. And so the playground supervisor let me go back into the classroom and I hid behind an easel. I do remember that.
Oh man. So you were just kind of humiliated. But it didn't knock you out.
I have no idea. I just remember having fallen off of the top of this and
So you had climbed to the top where you're supposed to slide down and you just fell off. Did you tell your parents?
not that I'm aware of. There's a potential that the teacher had said something. I'm thinking that that was the case, but I don't know for sure.
So your parents didn't come to you and say, "Oh my gosh, you hurt yourself. We're here for you."
Oh no.
Ah,
Oh no.
oh my gosh. Okay. I think that just really magnified the sense of rejection by your dad. Like, it doesn't even matter what happens to me. They don't even care. Nobody cares. And I must be such a loser because I fell off the slide instead of I'm just a 5-year-old, and that can happen. All right. So we're going to go with, this is the low self-esteem, and it's going to be over the spleen this time. And I'm going to tell you, yeah, I think you have a head injury from that fall that never healed. So I just kind of think that might be why you get the head pain now. Okay, so all right, so we're going to go, and you can heal that head pain. You can heal it, but it's associated with that sense of humiliation that happened from a head trauma. At the same time, the most important people in your life were your mom and dad, and they were not attentive. They were very neglectful and weren't there for you. So all of that happened in one swoop, and that's all connected physiologically, biologically, and emotionally in your body, and neurologically. So all right, so red. So now we're going to put this under your left breast, and it's like right there on your ribs, and you're going to put the red magnet against it, and then the other one you're going to put on your forehead. And then I need you to squeeze again, and this is your low self-esteem, where you just really hate yourself because even when you get hurt, nobody cares. Breathe in and breathe out, and breathe in and breathe out, and breathe in and breathe out. All right, and then take those down. Are there any other emotions? No, I think that's enough. All right, so next we're going to do forgiveness statements. So let's see, phase 1, phase 2. All right, so this is going to be a little different for you because I'm going to be tapping on my head to do this. One of the things that you can do, because you literally, what you do in life to manage this situation where people seem to hurt you and you can't trust them and they don't value you, you just check out. So your coping mechanism is to just functionally disassociate from your body. And then I don't feel the pain. And then, my head starts to hurt because I'm out here somewhere. The other thing is, when you're functionally disassociated, you can go on in robotic type of activity. I'm in the relationship, but I'm like a robot. I'm not really in it. I'm just going through the motions. So that you checked out when you fell down off of that slide, and you can't remember anything about it. You don't, except that you felt terrible about it. You assume your mom and dad heard about it. You don't remember them ever coming to you and saying, "Are you okay?" You remember feeling ashamed and humiliated, but you don't remember if it knocked you out even, because you just checked out. When it happened, you were just you were doing the massive disassociation, but you were still moving around. you know? So we're gonna like interfere with that patterning. So red magnets over either side of your head is a way for you to stay in your body while we start talking about this memory that your body likes to dodge out of. And when it dodges out, you end up, you know, having more experiences of people who give you reason not to trust, and get reminded of that over and over. And somehow you make space for these people to think they can get away with that with you. And that's what I want you to be able to lovingly for yourself, not keep this space open for those people anymore. And know there's, you know, I don't have to live like this. I'm not a 5-year-old anymore. So, all right, so I'm gonna tap. The other thing is if you get tired of holding these, you can take a rest, you know, in the meantime, hold them as long as you can. So I'm going to tap a little. So I need you to say, I forgive myself for believing.
I forgive myself for believing
That I can't love my dad or myself
that I can't love my dad or myself
without feeling
the
grief, abandonment, and low self-esteem
grief of abandonment, low self-esteem
from age 5
from age 5
when he rejected me,
when he rejected me,
when nobody was there for me, even though I got hurt,
when no one was there for me, even when I got hurt,
and I didn't matter.
and I didn't matter.
And one more time, I wasn't good enough because I fell off the slide.
And one more time, I wasn't good enough because I fell off the slide.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that I have to disassociate
that I feel like I have to disassociate
or check out
or check out
or numb up
or numb up
so that I don't feel
so that I don't feel
the humiliation,
the humiliation,
the rejection,
the rejection,
the low self-esteem,
the
and abandonment
low self-esteem,
and abandonment
the low self-esteem and abandonment
and grief
and abandonment
and grief
and grief
from age 5.
and grief
From age 5.
from age 5.
When I had a really bad accident.
When I had a bad accident.
And my adults, my parents didn't comfort me.
And my parents did not comfort me.
That I remember. And it
That I
felt like
remember.
that, and it felt to me that that was normal.
And to me, that felt normal.
Because I messed up, so I wasn't good enough, so I shouldn't get comfort.
Because I messed up, and so I shouldn't have comfort.
Right. I fell off that slide and was an embarrassment.
I fell off that slide, and it was an embarrassment.
And now I'll never be good enough.
And now I will never be good enough.
I will never be loved and blessed by my mom and dad.
I will never be blessed or loved by my mom or dad.
Because of that accident that I couldn't prevent.
Because of that accident that I could not prevent.
And they didn't even acknowledge to me.
And they did not even acknowledge to me.
And then breathe. I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for being a 5-year-old who fell off a slide because I was 5.
because I fell off of a slide because I was 5.
Yeah, and I was still learning.
I was still learning.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing that I deserve humiliation
Forgive myself, believed I deserved humiliation
and rejection
and rejection
when I'm not perfect,
when I'm not perfect,
when uh, when I fail,
when I fail,
when I'm not the best person in a relationship.
when I'm not the best person in a relationship.
I forgive myself for believing that means that I am unworthy of relationships.
I forgive myself for believing that I am unworthy of relationships.
Unless I do everything right.
Unless I do everything right. And not even then.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing I'm unworthy of relationships.
I forgive myself for believing that I am unworthy of relationships.
Where people show up to love me
Where people show up to love me
and care about the hurt I go through,
and care about the hurt that I go through,
or even care about the hurt they may cause me.
or even care about the hurt they may cause me.
I forgive myself for believing I am unworthy of that kind of love.
I forgive myself for believing that I am unworthy of that kind of love.
Because I fell off a slide when I was 5.
Because I fell off a slide when I was 5.
And it was and my parents didn't resolve it with me.
And my parents did not resolve it with me.
And then breathe. I give my 5-year-old self permission
I give my 5-year-old self permission
to accept. Wait a minute.
to accept,
Sorry about that. My phone. Yeah. To accept it wasn't your fault.
that it was not my fault.
I thought you were a fantastic 5-year-old.
I thought I was a fantastic 5-year-old.
Yeah, I was trying dangerous things
I was trying dangerous things,
and I knew nobody would be there for me if it went wrong.
and I knew no one would be there for me if it went wrong.
And I knew no one would be there for me if it went wrong.
And I knew no one would be there for me if it went wrong.
Yeah, I knew I would be alone.
I knew I'd be alone.
I knew I'd be humiliated,
I knew I'd be humiliated,
but I thought I could do it.
but I thought I could do it.
And I thought if I did this
And I thought that if I did this
and did it better than anybody thought,
and did it better than anybody thought,
something that was really hard for a 5-year-old,
something that was really hard for a 5-year-old,
then they would all love me
then they would all love me
and it would all change.
and it would all change.
And I'd be good enough.
And then I'd be good enough.
And they'd be proud of me.
I
And then breathe. I forgive my dad
forgive my dad
for showing no recognition or pride in me as his child.
for showing no recognition or pride in me as his child.
Yeah. Even though I did this great thing with the slide,
Even though I did this great thing with the slide.
and I was a brave kid.
I was a brave kid.
And then breathe. Yeah. I forgive my dad
I forgive my dad
for not knowing how to show love and blessing to me,
to not knowing how to
for
show
not knowing,
love and blessing to not
and then
knowing
breathe.
how.
Yeah. Just like I didn't know how to navigate that slide,
Just like I didn't know how to navigate that slide
and I hurt my head,
and I hurt my head.
my dad didn't know how to navigate relationships.
My dad didn't know how to navigate,
And he didn't know how to show love.
and he didn't know how to show love.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for harshly judging my dad. Did you hear that? I forgive myself for harshly judging my dad. I think you're frozen. I'm waiting for the computer to unfreeze. We're all frozen. Can you hear me? Still frozen. Hello. Waiting for some word back. Shirley, Penny, are you there?
Forgive
I got a little bit, but not much. It's, I forgive myself for harshly judging my dad because when he's messed up, he doesn't even feel humiliated.
my
Kind of coming through a little bit. So for people watching, what I'm just waiting for the computer to unfreeze so that Penny can reprogram by basically rewriting her script. So we're waiting. The picture is frozen. You might want to take the picture down, maybe, if you hear me. Or maybe move to the phone and so we can finish this without having another interruption. That would be a nice thing too. We're going to have to figure this out, Shirley. This has happened every time when we're using your internet, and I don't know why. It's very frustrating. So I'm still waiting to hear Penny's voice. I don't hear it. Are you all hearing us? Can you go into the chat box and give us a little word? Okay, Rob. Rob can hear me. Try turning all the programs off. Oh, I have other people who have to leave. All right, let's see here. Can you chat in the chat box if you hear me? I'm looking for what is happening. Shirley. There we go. Right now, Penny, you just look like a big garbled picture of modern art on my computer. That's kind of what's coming through. So even the video feed is not working right now, and I'm not hearing there's no sound at all. Maybe if Linda could call, maybe call on the phone, call Shirley and find out via phone what's up. Wonder if I've got her. We're just waiting here. This happens, it does happen, but it's been happening a lot with Shirley's internet. So I'm like thinking we're gonna have to do a special call and figure out what the heck. Why does Shirley's always go blah? And then we end up kind of having to get stuck. But I will say, for those of you who are learning how to do remote sessions, this can happen. And sometimes it happens with particular people because of whatever their internet connection is. Calling. Thank you, Linda. That's a great, yeah. So I'm having Linda to call Shirley and find out what's up, because we're not getting any sound, we're not getting any picture. It just keeps getting more jumbled. Sometimes this can happen when you have thunderstorms, like bad weather will sometimes mess up the feed. But this is very specific. Like everybody else who was on this feed could hear me, and everybody else who was on this feed was having difficulty with Penny's feed. All right, so Shirley is going to try a different phone. That would be great. Maybe just do a phone and forget that. That's really what I was trying to do in the beginning, was just switch off, have them just forget coming in on the computer, because now it's just one big piece of art. Modern art. Just waiting now for Penny to return.
That didn't come through.
Are you okay?
It's not coming through. I'm not hearing there.
Are you hearing me?
I have no idea. Again.
Are you? I mean, here's what my recommendation would be. If you come in on the phone, yeah, if you come in,
what you're saying.
Okay, so here's what is happening. This is like this is the terrible
anything that you're
right. So what I'm going to suggest, this is like the sound is terrible, the connection is terrible, but what I'm hoping is, I'm hoping we can finish the session on the phone. So if you just abandon coming into the room by the computer and use the phone connection, you will still be able to talk and hear.
Have you muted? Have you? I can hear what I can.
I love the meeting.
All right. Have you thought about just going with the number that is given on the link? Just give the phone number. Hi.
Can you see me now?
I can, but I'm really quickly starting to dissolve on I have a love-hate relationship with your internet.
I think so too. Okay,
Because
I'm on my phone, so I'm going to give Penny the phone.
Perfect. That would be way better, I think. The phone connection will really usually be, oh, okay. Yay, Penny, you even look better. You looked like some weird modern art mess before.
Oh, there you go.
All right, so you can hear me okay?
I can, yes.
I hear you fantastic, better than I've heard the whole time.
Okay.
All right, So here we are. We're going to jump back into getting yourself back into your body after that little panic. All right. So I need you to say, I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that I had to harshly judge my dad
that I had to harshly judge my dad
because when he messes up, he doesn't even feel bad
Be-
about it.
because when he messes up, he doesn't even feel bad about it.
And then breathe. Thanks, Shirley, for grabbing that. Yes, we're going to save this. All right. So I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that I have to feel bad about messing up,
that I have to feel bad about messing up,
falling off the slide,
falling off the slide,
or not being perfect in a relationship,
or not being perfect in a relationship,
so that I can prove I'm better than my dad.
so that I can prove that I'm better than my dad.
Because I will feel bad about doing things the wrong way.
Because I will feel bad about doing things the wrong way.
And he doesn't.
And he doesn't.
He can make mistakes and ruin people or ruin the way people feel and never feel bad about what he did.
He can make mistakes and not feel bad about what he did and ruin people's lives.
Right. And at age 5, I knew that.
And at age 5, I knew that.
So I felt I had to feel bad
So I felt like I had to feel bad
when I wasn't perfect
when I wasn't perfect,
to prove I was better than him.
to prove that I was better than him.
And then breathe. Yeah, I forgive myself for believing
I forgive myself for believing
that letting go
that letting go
of this head injury
of this head injury
and the need to prove I was better than my dad,
and to prove the need that I was better than my dad,
or the need to prove that he's wrong,
or to prove that he is wrong,
I forgive myself for believing letting this go wouldn't be good for me.
I forgive myself for believing that letting this go is not good for me.
And then breathe. I love and accept myself,
I love and accept myself,
even though
even though
I fell off a slide at age 5
I fell off a slide at age 5,
and neither of my parents acted like it was a big deal that I hurt myself.
and neither of my parents felt like it was a big deal that I had hurt myself.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing I need relationships that hurt me
I forgive myself for believing that I need relationships that hurt me
or experiences that hurt me
or experiences that hurt me
so that I can resolve the loss of the love I expected from my parents when I got hurt at age 5.
so that I can experience the loss of the love,
No. So I can resolve
so that I can resolve
the loss of the love
the loss of the love
that I expected when I got hurt at age 5.
that I, of the loss that I,
Expected when I was 5.
when I was 5.
And then breathe. So what I'm saying here in one sentence is that I have to keep having or attracting painful relationships in my life because my 5-year-old self is still waiting for a parent to come up and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry you went through that. That's terrible. I wish I could have been there to help you." And it's never going to happen.
Never gonna happen.
Right. But your little 5-year-old is waiting for that to happen. Like, somebody should have said something. Somebody should have helped me. Somebody should have cared. So so you went through this fall, this head injury, this humiliation, and nobody said anything. So I'm waiting to get, to get the love, to get the acknowledgement, to get something from people who say they cared. But I have to go through the pain before it replicates what happened to me at age 5. So I'm like looking for those hard situations so that in my mind is going, maybe this time my mom will say, I'm sorry you fell off the slide. Maybe this time my dad will say, wow, you're such a great kid. You did all this. You went up there to the top of the slide and you fell, but you're still in one piece. I'm so proud of you. Never going to happen. That's what your little brain is, your little 5-year-old's waiting for. The reason that is screwing you over now is because your 5-year-old has to have some painful life situation to make it real, right? Because otherwise, if you don't have a painful life situation, you can't receive what the 5-year-old needed to receive. You can't. So I need you to say, I forgive myself for holding on.
I forgive myself for holding on
To the words of comfort and love.
to the words of comfort and love.
And I want to say, and comfort, love, and acknowledgement
And acknowledgement
that I never got from my mom and dad.
that I never got from my mom and dad
After that head injury.
after that head injury.
And then breathe. Yeah, I forgive myself for believing I would have to really get hurt bad.
I forgive myself for believing that I'd have to get myself hurt really bad,
That I would have to even die before anybody would say they loved me and cared about me.
that I'd even have to die before anybody would say that they loved or cared for me,
And that I mattered.
and that I mattered.
And then breathe. I forgive my 5-year-old self for believing
I forgive my 5-year-old self for believing
that I would have to die to get some kind for somebody to say I mattered.
that I would have to die before someone would say I mattered,
Before they would even notice I was hurt.
before they would even notice that I was hurt.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing that no one notices what I do in a relationship that's good.
I forgive myself for believing that no one notices what I do in a relationship that is good
and valuable
and valuable,
unless they can hurt me.
unless they can hurt me.
And then breathe. And even then they don't notice.
And even then they don't notice.
And then breathe. I forgive myself for believing if I could get hurt over and over.
I forgive myself for believing
If I could get hurt over and over.
if I could get hurt over and over,
Then maybe
then maybe
someone would notice me and be there for me.
someone would notice me and be there for me.
Even though it
Even
never
though
works that way for me.
it never works that way for me.
I keep doing it like this.
I keep doing it like this.
I keep allowing
I keep
hurt,
allowing
hurt
hurt
and rejection
and rejection
to dominate my life and my relationships,
to dominate my life and relationships,
even with myself,
even with myself,
out of this hope that
out
my
of
parents
that my parents
will comfort and love me for the
will
head
come
injury.
will comfort and love me for the head injury.
And then breathe. I give my 5-year-old self permission
I give myself, my 5-year-old self, permission
to accept
to accept
I really love you.
I really love you.
And I don't, yeah, and I'm sorry that you had to go through that head injury
And I'm sorry that you had to go through that head injury
and that your head hurt bad
and that your head hurt bad
and nobody even asked.
and nobody even asked.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
I'm so sorry that you had to go through that.
If I had been there as an adult with you, I would have comforted and loved you.
If I would have been there as an adult, I would have comforted and loved you.
Because nobody should go through something like that alone.
Because no one should go through that alone.
And then breathe. Yeah. Without this pattern,
Without this pattern,
yeah, I can stop, I can give up the words of comfort and love I never got from my mom and dad.
I can give up words of comfort that I never got from my mom and dad.
And then breathe. Without this pattern,
Without this pattern,
I can give up all the words of love and comfort.
I can give all the words of love and comfort.
I can give all those words up
I can give all those words up
that people I loved didn't know how to give me.
that people that I love know how to give to me.
And then breathe. Without this pattern,
Without this pattern,
I am no longer limited
I
to
am no longer
relations
limited to relationship
that really hurt me and break my heart. I'm no longer limited to relationships
I'm no longer limited to relationships
that really hurt me and break my heart.
that really hurt me and break my heart
Because I'm not holding on to the words nobody ever said anymore.
because I'm not holding on to the words that nobody said anymore.
I'm letting those words they didn't say or couldn't say, I'm letting them all go.
I'm letting the words that they couldn't say and didn't say, I'm letting them go
To make space
to make space
for a feeling and experience in love and relationships
a feeling of love and relationships
that I've never experienced.
that I've never experienced.
One where I trust the
One
person.
where, one where I
One,
trust.
and I don't need a mean person to tell me the words my dad never said.
I don't need a mean person to tell me the words that my dad never said.
And then breathe. I let go of all the words my dad couldn't say.
I let go of all the words my dad couldn't say,
And that frees me.
and that frees me.
Wow. To hear those words from someone who knows how to say them.
Frees me from
To hear those words
to hear those words from
from
someone
someone who knows how to say them,
who knows how to say them,
who's nothing like my dad.
who's nothing like my dad.
Yeah, I don't need those words from my dad or anyone like him anymore.
I don't need those words from my dad or anyone like him anymore.
And then breathe. Without this pattern,
Without this pattern,
I am free to accept
I'm free to accept
all that my dad did give me
all that my dad did give me
to make me a better person.
to make me a better person.
And then breathe. Because without him, I wouldn't even be here.
Because without him, I wouldn't even be here.
And then breathe. I forgive my dad for not saying anything about my head, about my getting hurt,
I forgive my dad for not saying anything about my hurt or about my head
or even acting like he cared.
or even acting like he cared.
I forgive him for being aloof and rejecting.
I forgive him for being aloof and rejecting.
And I forgive myself
I forgive myself
for any time I treated someone the same way.
for myself for any time that I treated someone like
The same,
the
like
same
my
way
dad.
that my dad treated me,
And that hurt their feelings, whether I knew it or not.
and that I hurt their feelings whether I knew it or not.
And then breathe. Without this pattern,
Without this pattern,
I am free
I am free
to completely heal this head injury
to completely heal this head injury
where I hurt my head falling off the slide.
where I hurt my head falling off the slide.
And I can fully let go
I can fully let go
of all the words that my dad could not say to me,
of all the words that my dad could not say to me,
to make space
to make space
to receive those words of love
to receive those words of love
from God,
from God,
from myself,
from myself,
and from people who know how to say those things.
and from people who know how to say those things.
So my dad is off the hook,
So my dad is off the hook,
and so am I.
and so am I.
And then breathe. Wow. Okay. So, I want to do one more. Without this pattern,
Without this pattern,
I am free to let go
I am free to let go
of the blessing my dad didn't know how to give.
of the blessing that my dad didn't know how to give.
And I'm free to let go of the curse
And I'm free to let go of the curse
that he put over our family.
that he put over our family.
I say yes to all the cursing words,
I say yes to all the cursing words.
and I call them up and I release them
I call them up and I release them
at the cross.
at the cross.
And then breathe. Without this pattern,
Without this pattern,
I am free to receive
I am free to receive
the blessings of Abraham in my life.
the, the blessings of Abraham in my life.
And I am worthy
And I am worthy
as God's child
as God's child
to receive the blessings of Abraham
to receive the blessings of Abraham
in my family,
in my family,
in my land,
in my land,
in future generations,
in future generations,
and in my health.
and in my health.
And then breathe. Wow. All right. So you can take those magnets down and we're going to check how are you doing? You still you're hurting behind your eye?
It still comes and goes.
So it comes and goes and
Yeah.
it's coming and going while you're doing this. All right. So I'm going to check and see what stage of healing. Stage 6. So when I started, I said we have like 3 issues, but I'm pretty sure we covered them because we got to stage 6, which means we're at light emerging. The subjective units of distress. So when you think about trusting, like if you think about having a relationship where you can actually trust somebody, do you notice, like, does it feel any different? You may not feel any different
At
because
this
it's still, go ahead.
at this point, the reservation and the trust of this encounter
Yeah.
is much lighter.
Oh, good. Good. That's good. That's good. So, and then let's see, subjective units of distress. Oh, wow. I did get it to like a 0 to 1. And subjective units of elation with being in I'm going to say subjective units of relationship in a healthy relationship. You've been attracting unhealthy relationships. And you have, I want to say that your boundaries are not real good. So there's this open, like people just step into that space and they have at you. And it's like ridiculous where, you have to be able to say, I got to take responsibility here and say, you can't treat me that way. There's no, no, that's not how I get treated. In a way that you're not all emotional and feeling broken and upset. And like, if I don't change this person, I'll have nobody, like the 5-year-old. That's what I'm hoping is different. I think one of the biggest things you needed to do was let go of the words your dad never told you so that you could open space to receive that blessing from God instead of your dad, from God, your father. Like allowing for, my dad doesn't even know how to do this. And as his child, it's not my job to train him. It's exhausting to teach people how to be with people. And you don't need to do that. It's not your job. So the other thing is the head injury. Is it RNA, hypothalamus, RNA, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have a head injury that needs healed, and I could tell you probably can't do the leg raise test, which Shirley could show you. But you test for needing 5 RNA, which stands for ribonucleic acid, 3 times a day to heal the head injury. The other thing I would recommend if you were in my office, I mean, I would do more work. You definitely need more EPT, and you've got Shirley there to continue to work on this. I might do EPT on the head injury by doing 2-pointing it. I felt like we did a lot of it. I'd keep working on it because it's an actual physical thing that involves your body, and that body weakness is getting in the way of you having a good emotional experience. So I would put a North Pole magnet, like I have blue or green. I would put it under my pillow at night to get my head to heal, because you have a legitimate unhealed head injury. And I'm going to say it's probably since you were 5, and you're just getting symptoms, kind of like Muhammad Ali, when he got Parkinson's, and they went, well, he had all these head injuries, but nobody stopped him while he was going through it. So, I mean, I always encourage people to heal the head injury. Standard process, RNA, ribonucleic acid. You take 5, 3 times a day, and you need to do that for at least 3 months. Now, I'll tell you, Shirley will show you the leg raise test that will tell you if it's getting better. So you should be able to do a table leg, and she'll show you how to do that with your leg up, your eyes open and closed without falling over. So you're going to notice that either both you're falling over, or only one you're falling over and one you're good at. But when you start taking the RNA, I got that it's going to take 3 months of taking that RNA. And I would, if it were me, I'd also stick the magnet under my pillow. Because those brain injuries, not only will they cause pain, they can be a precursor to something like Parkinson's. They can, over time, the other thing they can do is make you feel terribly emotionally unstable, where you're caught in feeling just unstable emotionally, and you're like, why do I do this? Like, why am I unstable? So it goes with all of that. So I would get the RNA. You take 3 times a day. And if you're wondering, is it healed yet? You just keep checking your leg raise. And until you can stand and do that leg raise, that table leg raise, without falling over, you're still healing the head injury. But it will reach a point where you're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And, I'll give you an example. I had a medical doctor in here who got cleated in the face when he was a teenager. Now, he was in his 50s. He had chronic depression. He had neck pain and sleep problems. Those were his problems. I said, we got to heal your head injury. Well, his neck, I'm a chiropractor, and I didn't think it would fix his neck. He doesn't have any neck pain anymore. And he's sleeping fine, and his depression is alleviated. Now, he actually, when I looked at him and I said, you realize that could be the cause of all these problems that nobody's fixing. Nobody fixed your head injury. And he immediately got it. He went, oh my gosh, absolutely. I don't know why nobody ever said that to me. He didn't even think of it, and he's a medical doctor. So you can heal it. You just need to be vigilant about the RNA 3 times a day. And I'm muscle testing that you need to do this for 3 months. But if at the end of 3 months, you still can't do that leg raise, you need to do more RNA. You just need to keep taking it longer. But you're going to notice that lots of things get better, because when your brain is no longer flaky and injured, there's things that work better. People just don't usually think about it. They just go on. And you didn't have, even if your parents had been loving and wonderful, you would still have this head injury because they wouldn't have known what to do. You still would have had that. So anyway, thank you. We went a little longer because of the crazy internet. I'm glad. It was like maybe 5 minutes in there where I was going, where are you? Where are you? Anyway, thank you. I will send a copy of this, and I didn't have anybody type the statement, so I couldn't send those, but you could watch it again if you want. And I would definitely recommend that you should do at least 7 hours of EPT, and definitely get the magnet under your pillow with the North Pole against your head, which is green or blue. That part goes under the pillow, under your head. And the reason is because that will actually help change the energy field while you're sleeping. You could sit and watch TV and stick it on your head, but I just would do it. It's convenient because you'll roll over and you'll turn over, and the magnet will be under your head for a period of time. So anyway, that's all we got. I think we're down to 3 people here. I probably should turn off my recorder. Oh.